Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Danny and Troy Show. And we are into our 7-part series, number 2. This is where we're at, which we are calling the audition. The first one was the monologue. Now we're into the audition. And like we mentioned last time, we've got 3 parts or 3 motivations behind it, which is the purpose, the means, and the source. And yeah,
Troy's a data scientist.
With every data scientist, what's important is to have a domain. I feel, there's a lot of people out there saying, oh, I'm a data scientist. And I say, what's your industry? Oh, data science. But it doesn't work like that. You need some, like I've emerged from cancer research, and now I'm into brand storytelling, which I think is such a great, freeing, creative move. And because actually, I see some fundamentals, even in health and cancer, where if you can get your brand story right, and I'm talking really at the deepest level of identifying who you are and defining yourself and knowing why you're here in the world, then it can really cause, be the causal effect of good health and well-being.
Absolutely. How many people come into this world with the question on their mind until they die, right? Is where do I apply myself? Because if you start flipping burgers at McDonald's, then you go up the chain, because everything becomes, I don't know, routine, I guess, right? And then you end up, being a manager at a local McDonald's. And that's where your life is. And then you look at yourself and you say, okay, somebody suggested I get a job. And now that's where I am. But this job has nothing to do with me because nobody knows anything about me, much less themselves.
Cool.
Right. Exactly. And this is kind of like, on the road to salvation, because everyone has a primary responsibility to themselves first, I believe. Because if you can't be good for you, you can't be good for anybody else.
That's right.
And so this is a path of discovery, and we're excited about it. We get to know you, we get to know what you want, we get to find out together, and it's exciting, and I love it. And obviously, Troy's red hot on this.
Well, that's right. I mean, it's in the aspect of doing it for yourself, and particularly these activity kits. And by the way, we've got another activity kit being launched today, which will be in the description. Just click on the link there and it'll take you to datalogicalservices.com/onstage. You'll be able to see activity 1 and activity 2. Now, we're not calling them activity 1 and activity 2. We're calling them the monologue and the audition. And we've got another 5 in the pipeline coming.
Right.
But I wanted to emphasize, we're not prying also into who you are. These first activity kits, we'll never know who you are or what you're at. We're not going to look at it. Of course, you can share, but it's a self-analyzed and inquiry. You take
self-actuating. If you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you.
That's right. Of course, like Danny said, we are interested to learn about you, but it's not a participatory process right now. It's an individual action. What we do have in the pipeline, a number of services that we can support in terms of brand storytelling, where those come to us. If you want us to actually draft a brand story for you, we can do that. But it's done by us. Now, the next level where it is highly interactive and collaborative is the programs. And the one that I'm most excited about is the Eudaimonian mentoring program, where we can meet on a daily basis, in some cases, like Danny and I do, and talk about what's going on and align that with your brand story. Right now, what we have available is the activity kits.
Mhm.
They're self performed.
Explanatory.
Well, they're self-explanatory, hopefully, and they're self executed.
Mhm.
No need for us
Yeah.
to pry or know who you are or what you're about. That comes later if it looks like it's working for you.
Yeah.
So
Don't forget, Troy, the most important thing is that we designed this so it would be fun.
that's right.
If it's not fun, let us know. We'll change it. But it's
Yeah,
fun for us, and we think it's contagious, right?
exactly.
We're excited by this. This is not just something we're rolling out, to be millionaires. If it happens, that's fine. If it doesn't happen, that's fine too. It wasn't
Well,
meant to be.
yeah,
But we think that we put a lot of value into what it is we do. And so, mostly for our own edification, we want to feel like, because right now we're giving it away principally for what we're charging, that you get what you pay for. That's why it's not free, right? Because if it's
sure.
free, you're paying nothing. It's worth nothing.
There's a whole psychological, avenue on that. And yeah, we have put a lot of effort and a lot of
Yeah.
thought into these activity kits. And yeah, we see that if you are committed enough to come up with the $29.95 and buy it, then you're already on the right path. But we are giving away a lot in these videos and in our past videos. And if these sorts of messages resonate with you, if you are developing your brand story, then these activity kits are for you.
Yeah. And if you want to pay $30, we'll put 5 cents on credit
Yeah, we can
for
take
your
that.
next purchase.
We'll take that 5 cents for a tip. But the other thing is, we, like Danny said, are doing this for fun. It's we actually developed it for ourselves, myself. I've executed every step of these activity kits and applied it to my own life and my own business. And we have our business, Datalogical Services, that has been benefiting from participating solely by me going through it and working out, okay, what's the character? Who am I and how do I fit into this space? And developing that character and then displaying it through these YouTubes and also through the activity kits itself. Now, there really are some interesting things emerging in, such as the Buddhist approach. And I for this launch, for this activity, I'm announcing also that you will have access to the Buddhist influenced astrology calendar. Now, it all comes from Bhutan and the Bhutanese lineage. I'm sure if you know me, you know a little bit of my story. And if you, my story is actually in this activity kit that you called the Audition. And yeah, I have a high level of influence coming from Bhutan, and that's where Danny and I met, and it's coming through. So you will also get access to this astrology themed calendar that helps you identify certain hours of the day that, according to the stars and the beliefs of Bhutanese astrology.
So you would want to know what time you sign up for this activity kit, right? It's very important.
Well, yeah, these things, what is good is up to you. But yeah, I have been applying this as well. And I find if I dedicate that block of hours, like yesterday was from 12 till 2, to something that's really important for me, things just seem to flow. It just seems to be aligned. And I don't know, I can't explain it scientifically, but it's really influencing me as a data scientist.
Troy, I think it's just as important on my day book, right? When I week at a glance, that it's a little like, if I want time for myself or I want to give myself time to do something, I make an appointment with myself.
Wow.
And once it's in the book, right? It's written in. You can see I have a few things done here. Do it my own way. then
Yeah,
I do it because I
exactly.
know before the pressure's on, I know that I'll have time to do this, right?
Yes,
And
that's
it's
great.
much easier that way. I do want to say some two things. It first of all, it provides structure, right? If you're getting into something, it's like Sunday university, you've got 3 classes a week, 1 hour each, certain time between classes, whatever it is, it's providing structure. So you're not totally, lost at sea.
Hmm.
And then the other thing I want to point out is that when we were talking about data scientists, and we can move on, is that you are a data scientist, but you are applying your knowledge and skill as a data scientist in many other areas. So
Sure.
you don't have to stop being a data scientist, right? You
No,
just continue on and you apply all the wonderful things you know and do to many different venues.
that's right. And my venue now is brand storytelling.
That's right.
And yeah, so I want to step back a little bit because we opened up with purpose, means, and source. And you would have hopefully and seen in the last 10 minutes we've been talking, I mentioned the purpose was about giving people the opportunity to develop their own brand story. The means is through the activity kits. Just take them off the shelf and go through them. The source has come from Danny, a big chunk, Bhutan, my own experience. These are the things,
Life.
my life experience as a whole. And yeah, bringing it together into this way forward, which is fun.
Yeah.
And we're just
And,
having fun here. And if, like Danny said, you feel like something about it isn't fun, we really want to know because we want to
yeah.
fix that as quickly as possible.
This is not theory, by the way. This is evidence of our life. And we give you success stories, right? It's not like we're dreaming something up and we just throw it out there. You pay us money for it. It's like this works. And we share that with people. Why not? We're not losing anything. We're
Exactly.
gaining friends, we're gaining our own experience in sharing, of course, right?
That's
And
right.
that's what makes it fun, is because we're not trying to, you know, turn on the thumb screws on anybody. You're perfectly free to do anything you want. But what we're saying is we know some things that work. And we're trying to look at it as like, okay, we're using this theatrical approach, right? Which is so easy. Anybody can be in theater. You don't have to have training or anything else like that. And we increase your awareness of who you are, your capabilities, how flexible you are, the application of the things you know and how they can appear in front of other people, increase your confidence. There are many, many things that we offer as a part of this that
Exactly.
I don't know. I wanted to say that we don't charge for, but that's not the point. It's all integral. It's all integrated in a very interesting way.
That's
Even, when I try to be funny, really, I think introducing a sense of humor and keeping conversations light and laughter is a tension reliever, right? So if
cool.
you're experiencing some stress or whatever, well, come to us and we'll make you laugh if we're lucky, right? We want you to have a good time
That's
because
right.
we're going to have a good time anyway, and we'd love to have you.
Exactly. So we talked about the other day, the next generation. I don't even know whether it's Gen Z or something else, but yeah, the fact is that generations are coming, the next generation, and we've grown to a point where like we're happy, but we
Yeah,
want to give things back to the next generation
right.
because I personally want to leave the world in a better place than I found it. And these are the motivations and the values that are instilled in the activity kit.
And
And
we're a couple of old men, right? Who
you
who
can
want
tell
to share
that's right.
what we've learned. People
Yeah,
people come to us, in the grocery line or in the bus station or whatever, and they just, they get close and they say, blah blah blah, and it's like, yeah, and he said, well, I can't talk to my dad, so can I talk to you? And it's like, I don't know who you are, but go ahead, man. Lay it
Sure.
on me. This
Yeah.
happened to me in where was that? In Budapest,
All
right? And
right.
everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's like, sure, go ahead. And then I just, open my brain and talk. Or this is how I open my brain. Here's a great entrance. Here too, right? And here,
Well,
and here.
these
Lots of
are,
holes in my head.
yeah, some of the tips and tricks that are coming into the activity kits. And one that is important mentioning here is listening,
Yeah.
the
Oh
skill of
yeah.
listening. And you talked about making time for yourself. And
Mm.
yeah, I believe Danny is an amazing listener. He can really listen, and from his um, showing what to do, I've learned and picked up on that as well. So I believe I can
Mm.
really listen, and it's not, to think in your mind what you're going to say next, but it's to really absorb what the person's saying and
Oh yeah.
understand. So there's different
You do that
levels of
on
listening.
stage too. You
That's
keep things fresh, not by thinking of what I'm supposed to say next.
yeah,
It will come if you know it, but listen to the other person and you'll have a fresh presentation every night, 365 days a year. And
yeah,
you'll go to it with the enthusiasm, even though you're saying the same words. When you listen to the other people, it's different every night.
exactly. So yeah, if you um go and get the activity kit, then that's the first step. But then preceding step is to make some time, put an appointment in for yourself to do it. And actually, part of that is listening. There's a lot of requirement for you to listen to yourself.
Yeah.
And we have this dialogue going on in our heads about where we should be or what we should be doing, or
Mhm.
what's going on, and focusing that on the brand story and the questions that come out and the activities that it's asking you, and getting out a nice pen and a notepad and letting things flow. And Danny talks about letting things flow. He has a natural ability to let things flow out audibly, but I have a less developed skill in that. I understand and I acknowledge. So I go to my pen and I let it flow.
Yeah.
And if you can get into that stage where you're letting the things come, this is the space that you're on the right track
Yep.
with our activity kits.
Yep. Yep. It's our help. We like to think our help. When I'm writing, I've got two different things I do. I use a Bic medium point ballpoint pen, and this is the format that I write in. I don't want to be cramped. I don't have any little book, that I'm like this in. And if I'm not doing that one, and I really care about what it is I'm writing, I go to one like this, hardbound Strathmore, same size. You can see it, right?
Right.
Same size,
Yep.
because I can be free, and I can do anything on the page I want.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
I've got two sides. I can start on the left-hand page. I can start on the right-hand page. It doesn't matter,
Sure.
right? Just give myself the comfort and no judgment about what I'm writing. I don't care if you misspell it or not. It's your book, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can create your own language if you want. And that's what it's about, right? Is being free. And I would say also, and very important, is learning to get comfortable with yourself.
Exactly.
Nobody's there to criticize you except you, right? And
Sure.
who needs it? Nobody needs it. I think criticism is like part of editing, and we haven't even gotten there yet, right? So just let it flow. That's what I would say. Just let it out, let it flow until, it's a discovery process. You will learn more about yourself by not restricting anything you do. You can repeat yourself. You can write upside down, or you can write so you can read it in a mirror, whatever turns you on.
Sure.
That's how, you have to be comfortable with yourself.
Exactly.
And then it's like popping the cork. And then, we start extending it. We give you some teasers about
Mm-hmm,
what to do in this kit, right?
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
it's not, nothing we got out of, Google or whatever. This comes out of, two gentlemen's lives and
Exactly.
all of the people that we've run into wherever we've been. And, we like to have conversations with people. So they share with us, we share with them, and then we take something away from it and we share it with you.
Exactly.
I like to think that's what we're trying to do. And I think we're doing it.
We are.
We can always get better.
And well, that's a good point too, because we are still in the early stages of launching these new activity kits, and we are working iteratively and agile. So we
Mhm.
modify everything that we talked about in the last one, we take to the next one.
Mhm.
And yeah, this one, as we mentioned, is focused on the audition. A theatrical approach to business development, brand storytelling. How might you do that? We have set it out in an easy step-by-step activity kit that you just follow and participate and execute on your own. And it's mimicking as if you would be going for an audition. Imagine
Yeah.
you being in possibly being in a play, and you have to audition to it, and the play is about you and your company. And how would you approach that? We've got the steps, we've got the guide, and that's what the activity is about.
Whether you're doing business or you're in a play, I look at it as it's the same thing, right? I
Well,
had a student at Tulane who, they used to think theater was a crip course, right? So they all signed up for it. And one day I had this guy, actually, he's the one who started this whole Coca-Cola classic nonsense, right? He
right.
was in my class. And I told him, I can still see him, big, tall, dark-haired guy, a Madison Avenue kind. And he said, I don't know why I'm taking this. And said, I'll tell you why you're taking this course. And by the time the year was over, he goes back up to New York. He's first day he's on Madison Avenue, and he comes up with this Coca-Cola thing, right? And it was like, okay, good job, nice, good boy. And he gained that. I like to think, and by his own acknowledgement, that it was the most interesting thing he had ever done, and something that he never expected he would get anything out of. He just wanted an A, right? I just
Right.
want a 4.0. Yeah, it looks good on my blah blah. And then I go back to New York, and it's like, okay, whatever, that's
Yeah.
fine. But
Yeah.
while you're here, I'm gonna press you because his life had been too easy for him. And then
Okay.
it was like, okay, you stumbled into this classroom, and you're going to stumble out, right?
Yeah.
Put him through the mill and
So,
see what happens. So it could
right.
happen to anybody, really, right? Just to uncover that hidden treasure that we all have inside of ourselves. And we go through this process because theater is comfortable. You know, if I don't care if you've got an MBA or not. I think you have one, don't you, Troy?
Yeah, I do.
MBA. All right, that's fine. I've got alphabet soup after my name too. But does it really matter? I
No,
don't walk in the door and say, you got to give me this contract because I'm a PhD, and all this other stuff I could drown you with. It's like, no, what you want to hear is what comes from me because I'm so well in touch with myself. And I don't press for business. It was that way at MTV. I met the guy who was the producer because he was, an opening act for James Cotton Blues Band in Brooklyn. And I was like, telling him, I said, hey, man, I didn't know who he was. I didn't really care who he was. And I just went up to him and I said, you've got some sweet licks. He was playing dobro, blues guitar. And he had studied with Mississippi Fred McDowell. And he's just, I think he was a Long Island boy, had his own music shop. And then, it was like, I really like your stuff. He came back a second night. I said, I got to have a tape, man. That's when we had things called tapes. And he said, well, come by the office. I said, okay. So I went by the office and, he and I just got along. And then you get along with people because you're not pressing them. I didn't go in and say, oh, wow, Jackie Gleason's old studio. You must be really rich. And he was, and I didn't care. And he didn't care. He said, do you know how many people trying to meet me? And I said, I don't know. I know one, but I'm not meeting you for who you are. But I like your music. And that
Yep.
was enough. And I was being perfectly honest. That was enough. And
That's it.
here we were, two guys talking, like you and I, what we met. It's really hard to intimidate me. I'm not even sure it's possible. And it's like, I want to know more about you. You're an interesting person.
My camera's just
You still there?
died. Oh, there we go. Yep, I'm back. Anyway,
Yeah, I saw that.
I love your
Everybody
stories.
needs a break.
That's great. We've hit over the 20-minute mark, so we should wrap it up here. And
Okay, go
there's
ahead.
two more things
Let's
that I
go.
wanted to mention. Actually, they're related. One is every activity in this 7-part series is inspired by Shakespeare, and all the world's a stage. And I have been practicing. Let me have a go at it.
Go ahead.
Danny, all the world's
Wonderful.
a stage. All men and all women merely players. And one man in his time plays many parts. His acts being of 7 ages. I'll stop there.
That's enough, Troy. How fresh.
But
That, something happened to me automatically.
yeah,
I listened,
it's the power of
right?
Shakespeare.
Yeah, it's your power too, Troy, because the way you structured it and the way you threw in Danny, right? Nice, helpful little thing there
Yeah,
to center you,
sure.
caught my attention. And this is technique. This is theatrical technique. And I dare anyone not to do that in a business environment and have the same success that you just had with me.
Right.
I'm listening. I'm involved. I want to know more. Mission accomplished, quote unquote.
And the second point is attached to that is we're releasing NFTs associated with Shakespeare himself. We've got a beautiful pixel art interpretation of Shakespeare. And for those that buy our activity kits, get access to the NFTs. And the first one is still up for grabs. So check it out. And that one, I think, it's going to be huge on the OpenSea market.
Absolutely. That's right. Yeah. And no, it's not free. It's included in the price.
It's included in the price. So yeah, we'll bring this one to a close here. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you do get value out of this, please do comment, subscribe, and let us know who you are and what you're about, and there's more coming.
Yeah. We'd love to have you. We're excited. We want this to be contagious, right?
It's really valuable for me, and yeah, we're just showing the value as and as it is fun for us to do.
Yeah. Come have fun with us.
I'm gonna hit that button to play the jingle that you would have noticed. We got little jingles at the beginning and end now. So here it goes.
Enjoy.